So you've brought us some source material today. Looks like a summary of updates from mid-June 2025, all focused on Israel and Iran. Our goal here is really to unpack the key points from this material, try and get a handle on what the sources are saying is going on and, what it might mean.
Exactly. And it's clear from these sources, this isn't just one thing. We're talking about, well, multiple layers of tension happening all at once.
Like multiple layers. Okay, so let's start unpacking those. The source mentions this shadow war. What exactly is Israel doing inside Iran, according to this?
Well, the source points to intensified covert operations. These are apparently targeting Iranian military sites and also, crucially, nuclear facilities. It's that hidden conflict.
Hidden. Okay. And how does the source frame Iran's response or their claims about it?
Iran, it says here, is publicly accusing Israel, specifically of cyber attacks and acts of sabotage.
Sabotage against what?
Focusing on their missile and drone production capabilities, so trying to disrupt their military tech.
Got it. So that's one layer, a covert one. Then the source moves to something more visible, Israeli strikes in Syria. What are those about?
These strikes, according to the source, are aimed at Iranian-backed militia groups and also weapons convoys.
Weapons convoys. Heading where?
The source suggests they're believed to be going to Hezbollah in Lebanon. So it's about cutting off that supply line to Iran's main proxy there.
And this Syrian activity, the sources link it directly to the Lebanon border, don't they?
They do, yeah. It seems connected to Hezbollah stepping up its own actions. The source notes more rocket and drone launches from southern Lebanon into northern Israel.
Though the source also mentions defenses are working.
Yes, it mentions Iron Dome and David's Sling intercepting many of them, but the activity is significant.
Significant enough for what? What's the really concerning part mentioned?
Well, the source highlights civilian evacuations happening in northern Israel and southern Lebanon. That points to a real fear this could blow up into, a much bigger fight on that border.
Okay, a potential second front. Now, let's shift to what the source presents as maybe the absolute core issue here, Iran's nuclear program. What's the latest from the IAEA report mentioned?
The source cites that IAEA report. That's
Yeah.
the UN's nuclear watchdog. And it says Iran has enriched uranium up to near weapons-grade levels.
Near weapons grade. And there's something else.
Yes. And this is critical, according to the source. It's happening at multiple undisclosed sites. That raises huge questions about transparency, about verification.
And this nuclear piece, the force seems to tie it directly to the threats of, well, actual war. What's Israel's stance as described?
Israel's warning, as detailed in the source, is pretty clear. They're saying they could take unilateral military action if Iran crosses this nuclear threshold.
The point where they could build a bomb quickly.
Essentially, yes. And the source points out this warning persists, even with U.S. efforts trying to, calm things down.
What about other big international players? How does the source position them?
The U.S., it notes, has moved more assets, ships, planes into the region, a signal of support for Israel and deterrence. But then you have Russia and China warning against direct Israeli strikes, urging restraint.
Okay, so international pressure from different directions. What about the leaguers on the ground? What are they saying? According to the source material, we're just relaying what's in the sources here, of course.
Right, staying impartial. The source quotes Israeli officials, including Netanyahu, saying Israel is ready for a multi-front war. That could mean strikes inside Iran itself.
And the onside.
The source includes details from Iran's IRGC commanders. They're threatening massive retaliation if attacked, and they specifically mention potential missile strikes on places like Tel Aviv and Haifa. Pretty direct threats.
Very direct. Beyond these threats, the source also talks about broader impacts, right? Ripple effects across the region.
Yeah, definitely. The source notes oil prices, for instance, jumped over $100 a barrel. That's fear about supply disruptions from the Gulf.
And practical things, too.
Yes, like commercial flights. The source says they're being rerouted away from Iranian and Israeli airspace because of all the military activity.
Makes sense. What about the neighbors, the Gulf countries specifically? What's their reaction, according to the source?
What's highlighted is that countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, they're beefing up their own air defenses. And interestingly, the source points to more intelligence sharing.
Sharing between him.
Between these Gulf nations, the U.S., and also Israel. It suggests a kind of shared growing concern about where this might all be heading.
So stepping back and looking at all this material, It paints a picture that's, wow, incredibly layered. You've got the shadow war, these active proxy fights, the huge nuclear question, and then these explicit threats of direct state-on-state war, all
Well,
happening at once.
absolutely. The sources really show tensions are incredibly high simultaneously across all these different dimensions. It's not just one pressure point.
It really isn't. Which brings us to a final thought, drawing from that last point in the source material you shared.